Now again, you can see that we have the divine feminine in alignment. And here she is. She's been revitalized again on the 5D physical embodiment level. And so these two have been transitioned into these two in the physical reality. And they have become a dynamic duo. So you can see that they have come out of separation and come into a union here. This is just gorgeous. Okay, and so then where do we come at the end of this transition, this transformational storyline, where more bliss comes in to help navigate the creation? We have himself in his youthful, vibrant, eternal masculine energy, electric magnetic form, showing up. And then who shows up to meet him where he is? This stunning divine feminine energy, iris of the rainbow. Yeah? So now we've gone from this, which is coming out of the bliss that we've just been through, a little bit worn and a little bit, okay, well, now what happens? We've gone from this to this challenge and moving through these energies and dealing with the creation, to this grounded, united, together in union, wise, empathic, loving, in balance. We've gone to this, and we've come out on the other side of this creation dynamic with this. And this is the next wave of energy, the next wave of bliss coming into the union with the divine masculine and the divine feminine, within and in the external. So, boy, I'm totally heating up right now because the energy of the Rar has been taken into transfiguration and in return alignment to ecstasy. Source co-creation ecstasy. That is what co-creation is. When you open to this fully, you will feel ecstatic. And it may be quite surprising because we're just simply not used to feeling this way in our bodies in the domain in which our bodies are presently focused, which is in a system of separation and suffering. So I thought, well, okay, we're getting some good information here. Let's carry on. What's going to happen next? And what we have here is, as we've come into this relationship, remade anew, and this does not mean a new person. What I find really interesting with so many of the tarot card readings is there's this energy of dump and run. Dump and run. Dump and run. Oh, new love, new person. Oh, let this person go, let that go. Dump and run, dump and run, dump and run. Right? That's not what we do in union. We don't dump and run. We transform. We recognize the beauty within all of our relationships for transformation. So we don't dump and run anything that is still aligned with the source sparked information. So you're going from this, and you can see in a traditional tarot reading, this might be, let this guy go, he's a mess. Or let that gal go, she's a wreck. And she's squashing you, she's sitting on top of your head. Right? She's suppressing you. The feminine is suppressing you. And you don't have any better sense than to be happy about it. And like, okay. Right? That would be the story. Dump and run. Dump and run. Abandonment. Dump and run. Rejection. And those two energies, my dearly beloved friends, are the primary energies that run the system of separation and keep it operating in perpetuity. Rejection and abandonment. So here we have an understanding of what the transformation and transfiguration and union is about. It's a return to the heart and seeing everyone anew, including ourselves, and taking every opportunity to change our perceptions about who we are, what we are, and how we're in relationship. And yes, there are times when we do have to let go of situations that have been really, truly destructive to us. But this is where we're coming back, right? So instead of dumping and running and saying, oh, where's my new person? That person wasn't good enough. That person, like, ugh, right? And then looking in separation, listing all their faults. Where in this dynamic and sacred union, we return to the heart and we allow our perceptions to shift into more loving perceptions, and we see ourselves and each other differently. So for me, this is a very, very powerful part of the sacred union journey. We stop dumping and running. Dumping and running is not responsible, accountable behavior. It's just not. And this is a very difficult challenge for the global human collective. Dumping and running. That's what that island of plastic in the middle of the ocean is about. Dumping and running. We didn't make it, right? We didn't, it's not our plastic. Okay, so we have out in this beautiful transition now, we have out himself becomes the piper. And he's calling to all of the persons, places, people, things, and animals who can hear the sound of source creation within themselves rising. And now he's able to share and contribute to that song. So he's working with the topsy-turvets, and that's fun and playful, and anything can happen. And he's also expressing himself. He's feeling the song within himself, and he may be able to find both actions and words. Now this is a 29, it comes out to an 11. And so the distorted masculine has not been free to express himself verbally, except in the confines of certain roles. And this is him realizing that he does have the ability to express himself at an emotional level, that it's safe, and that he's with people now who can hear him and feel him, and he can trust them to be responsive to what he's expressing and not dump him and run, because he's now daring and risking to express from his emotional body and perception. And then we have out the fairy godmother. So here we have, again, a beautiful kind of a transition, going from this, oh God, are we going to get through it? I'm exhausted, I'm sore, I'm tired, I just want to go to sleep, right? This work is so hard. My wings are all tattered and torn. Then we're coming into this, right? This is beautiful. This is the expression at the celestial level of the union. With Tatum, the poet, expressing his emotional body, and the fairy godmother, which is really just the divine feminine showing up in her full, gracious, gorgeous power, holding the energy, the magnetic, the sacred magnetic key. She is the sacred master key. Together they are the sacred master key. And neither of them are withholding anymore. They are no longer withholding the best of themselves, the most vulnerable parts of themselves. It's all present. And they're bringing it, and they're sharing it, and they're expressing it. So, wow, right? That's another outpicturing of the transformation. And so for many of a patriarchal male, having friends and being in a friendly community has been a challenge, because that's always been framed in the paradigm of competition, right? So he was able to play sports, and he was able to be intellectually competitive, but to be emotionally expressive, to allow his own soul song to emerge from him, and then to share that, who he is, that himself, with other masculine energies, and even divine feminines, and not coming into distorted sexual energy, right? This is again part of coming out of reaction. And so the distorted masculine has come in, those who are on the sacred union journey, they're hearing their own song, and they're allowing it to emerge, and they're sharing it in a non-competitive way, in a co-creative way. So I was curious about how these two feminine energies were going to come into unity, peace and disturbance, insight and understanding, and craziness and addiction. How are these two divine feminine energies going to come together and meet in the middle and deal with the bliss and the creation that would arise in them? So that was another question. What is that going to look like? All right, now I'm going to do this just a little bit, so we have a little bit more space and we can see where we are. And it's kind of going like this, right? So next out, this is all neutral energy, this is all balanced, 0 point unity, 0 point within, 0 point without, and the ecstasy of that experience. And now what came out was she of the Kruak. This is the absolute first expression of the divine feminine coming and arising and manifesting from source energy. So we're going from here to here to here. I hope you can see this. And this is the alignment, and this calls in the she of the Kruak. This is the essential dark mother feminine energy who brings life, who carries the essence of source information and grows it and nurtures it and shares it as a form of essence. So now she of the Kruak has shown up, I think, to assist the bonus wild daughter and the female energy in the loam to come into balance. Okay, so these two are now meeting up with the real, total, and only primary mama. So there they are, they're working it out. Peace and disturbance. Again, dualistic perceptions, dualistic actions and choices, meeting in the pure energy of the mother. Get that worked out. Okay. And next out we have Sylvanius, which is, this is the sacred energy of truth, of being a truth teller and taking off the masks and being real with ourselves and with each other. So that is coming out. I see that as part of following up with the singer of transfiguration. Yeah. Then next out, we have friends. So here we have the divine masculine sharing his song with the topsy-turvets over here. And here we have Penelope Dreamweaver sharing her information and her balance with the friends of the union. People, places, things, animals, events. Okay, so we have that. Now, wow, okay, so now we are coming into He of the Fiery Sword. And so this is the divine masculine in his electric, absolutely electric galactic erection that is sharing ecstasis. Right? With She of the Kruak. This is where it's at. This is the bliss. And these energies return again and again to themselves in source, right? This is it. This is the beautiful alignment, the sexual, sacred sexual energy, sacred sensuality coming in and meeting in co-creation in the explosive energy of ecstasy. And they are bookended by both expressions of source unity. 0 point inner, receptive, moving inward, magnetic, and electric magnetic in the at the galactic level, at the primary creation level. So this is where we've come from the beginning of what is the creation going to bring into the union. And here we see that in its cycle of complete creation, it's going to bring more ecstasy and bliss and unity between the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and source co-creation. And the last card out we have here, Titan the Sylph. So for me, in this reading, this energy represents the child, the mission, the co-creation of these energies coming together in ecstasy, in balance, in beautiful use and creation of co-creation using sexual energy as sacred sensuality for co-creation, not for service to self-manifestation. And in this instance, we have Titan the Sylph coming out as the what is created in this dynamic, what comes out as a new life form to support the union and to support this entire process. Titan the Sylph is a fast-acting, flexible energy. It's completely surprising. You don't know what to expect. You don't know what's coming around the next corner. And it's all okay. It's exciting. It's keeping things, co-creation, alive and dynamic. So I just think this is an extraordinary reading, and it is very humbling to me to be able to feel these current energies and to translate them and to have such wonderful decks to help with the process. Because these visuals do aid people who are visually oriented in having a deeper understanding of what they may be feeling energetically when they haven't yet come into a full ownership of all of their subtle bodies and all of their meta being and who they are yet at the complete soul level, and they're still in that process. So I think this is going to be, despite the violence that has happened today, and it is very tragic and it is very sad, and it is what happens when these two energies come together and they are wildly out of balance. Wildly out of balance. disturbance, you have chaos, you have madness. So the creation rippled through, the bliss rippled through our culture, and it is going to generate a response. Now, what we have to be careful of is allowing ourselves to have our perceptions change. And perhaps the perceptions that need to change have to do with where did the gun come from to begin with? Why do we have the gun? How has the gun been an instrument of the infection of the creation that has happened again and again and again? How is the gun an instrument of a primary instrument of the system of separation? And go deeper than looking at the gun, recognizing it is definitely a problem, because we have people who are coming from this depth of loss and chaos and confusion and addiction and destruction and being out of balance within themselves, who in the system of separation still have access to money. And so for me, what unfolded in tragedies at these two locations was this energy playing out the destructive side of having access to money. It takes money to buy guns. It takes money to drive 1,000 miles from someplace you don't live, to show up in a town and bring that kind of death and destruction to it. And we need to look deeper. We need to understand that dynamic at a much deeper level, because it is a microcosm of a chaotic, destructive, distorted, masculine energy. If we want to look at what happened to the Americas, of that kind of energy arriving on our shores and applying that kind of power, domination, violence to the people who were living here already in their structured cultures. So this is not a new dynamic. And what's happened now is that the empire, the dominant energy of empire, is being completely deconstructed by Source in this ascension journey. And so we're not going to have world war, but the reactions of the pressure of this kind of madness, this infection, this ego sickness expressing itself in the collective, is now you're going to have a mini war where a single invader from somewhere else comes in with the intent to suppress, right? We know that in Texas, this guy wrote a manifesto, and it's all about, Hispanics. They're the hated other because he hates himself. A person can't commit that kind of violence without hating himself. So ultimately, the infection that we're having to deal with, that we're having to heal to come into our wholeness, is how to assist the distorted patriarchal masculine in dying to that part of him that is not Source spark, that is an invader, carrying hatred and the intent to kill. To kill innocence, to kill life, to kill women, to kill children, to kill elderly people, and to kill men. Suicide, right? So we need to look at our epidemic of opioid use, and our epidemic of suicide, and our epidemic of now the shrinking access to money, and people falling into despair around that and not knowing how to manage that pressure, and thinking it's somebody else's fault that they don't have money or they don't have a job, instead of taking a look at the system of separation and recognize that they were just set aside by a system that has no heart and is not invested in their wholeness or wellness, except as it's expedient and as it serves the system. Okay, so, yeah, boy, a lot of information coming out today. And then I sought out some additional visual aids in this translation of current energies. And so the card that came out from the secret language of light and love, I've got to add that because light in and of itself, light, only light, you just keep running light, you're going to end up like this. It has to be the combination of love and light. It really does. Otherwise it kind of really needs to be this combination. Right? And then the himself, she's fully illumined and awakened, and the himself is coming fully illumined and awakened in a simple, natural, beautifully wild form. Right? He's this. And now he's also, he is a fiery sword. Right? These are together now. And now he's able to hear his own soul song, and he's able to feel it in his body, his physical and emotional and mental energy that is integrated. So this is coming from Source. And you can hear the calm in my voice. I'm in a very peaceful place today, despite the reaction that many other people will be in, and my condolences to anyone who experienced a tragic loss today or an injury today, because the injuries and the damage from the injuries, that damage goes on for years and years and years. It won't be over. It won't ever be over for the people who survived. Now from the Divine Feminine, we have the Divine Feminine. We have Divine Feminine showing up as herself, ready to meet herself in all of her expressions and all of her dynamic energy, in her groundedness. Here she is. She's saying, I'm here. I'm on it. I'm with it. I'm expressing it. I'm doing my very best to hold this frequency in myself and in my life and in my body. Okay, so we have that out from the Divine Feminine. And then, I think this is beautiful that this came out today. For the Divine Masculine, we have wellness. Wellness. We have to get to wellness before the Divine Masculine can get to wholeness, and they go together. You can't have wholeness without wellness. You can't have wellness without wholeness. And so here, the Divine Source energy is supporting this wellness. The Divine Feminine is supporting this energy of wellness in the Divine Masculine, so that his fiery sword becomes part of how he becomes well, by coming into an aligned situation, an aligned expression of his powerful sexual energy. So he is no longer choosing to blow things up with it, to blow lives up with it, to blow families up with it, to blow relationships up with it, to blow the world up with this, because these two things have so much power, but they're not in a state of wellness. Okay, so peace and blessings to you all. Let us have a quiet day of reflection in support of sending love and light to the tremendous pain that our country is in, and then individuals who have chosen to live in this country, to try to just be expressions of sanity and wellness. Source Spark, that is the Source song. It is sanity and wellness and healing. and abundance. Okay, so that's it for today, and I hope that you have an opportunity to bring this information into a quiet, reflective place and feel it working within you, because this is energy that's coming directly from Source, and it's for all of us. And I'm very, very, very humbled and also very pleased to be sharing it with you today. Thank you very much for listening. There will not be an extended reading. This needed to just happen and go all the way through. So if you would like to donate something to my channel, there's a link below where you can donate something to PayPal, and I would much appreciate it. All right. Thank you for watching.